What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark, MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm here to talk about Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Oh, that bottom. Oh. Actually, this is part of my March Madness. If you've been watching my channel, somebody commented on the first video. I'm a little bit ahead, and I try to be a little bit ahead just in case. Somebody commented I dropped Irishman, and they were like, "So it's March Madness, so you're going to be reviewing movies that are Irish and or about basketball?" And I was like, it would be hilarious, and like you've given me an idea for future March, like for like next March. But then when you get so specific, it's like, can I find 31 basketball movies? Does that exist? I mean, I feel like there are a lot of documentaries. Like I'm just like there's We Beat the Dream Team, there's a Redeem Team, there's the Bill Russell documentary. I mean, like I feel like they just all be basketball documentaries, but I'm up for the challenge next March, maybe. No, I wanted to do 31 excellent Netflix movies, or good to great, you know what I'm saying? Like highly recommend Netflix movies. So I'm revisiting a lot of movies that I have not had a chance to review based on when I started the YouTube channel, that were in this period of limbo of my blindness for a lot of these films. Some films are going to be way back when Netflix started making earlier movies, but Ma Rainey's Black Bottom I just hadn't reviewed. It was released in 2020. This was the film that got Chadwick Boseman finally his Oscar nomination, albeit posthumous. So let's get into it. Click like and subscribe. Join me on this journey. I'm a blind film critic. I need all the help I can get. People think we crash airplanes now as blind people when we're not even allowed in towers, because those are not jobs. Those are jobs that you have to be able to see in order to work in an air traffic control tower. So yeah, I actually need the influence now. Before it was just like for fun. It was like, hey, tell your friends. Now it's like companies are running away from DEI like it's on fire. And the only way that I'm ever going to get through to anybody now is by having a mass following behind me. I have to look like a tidal wave. Otherwise, nobody's going to pay attention. So, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is based on a play by August Wilson, directed by George C. Wolfe. It's got Viola Davis, Chadwick Boseman, Glenn Turman, Coleman, Domingo, Taylor Page. Totally forgot Taylor Page was in here until I looked at IMDb and I was like, who else is in? Oh my God, Taylor Page is in this. It's a nice ensemble. It's only like a 90-something minute movie. It's a little over an hour and a half. It does have audio description. It has excellent audio description. I loved the description when we first get Ma Rainey and like her makeup, and she's just like, you know, she's on point, you know, she's dressed to the nines, she's ready for this. Like she's just a stylish lady. And her initial audio description was really good. But yeah, it's a singer that's going in for this recording session, and she's got her own demands and ideas and everything about the way that she sort of controls a room. Chadwick kind of plays, he's a gig player, who's been hired to come in on the recording session and play his trumpet on the recording. And a lot of things get in the way. There are a lot of arguments, and people reveal things about themselves and their stories and their struggles and their pasts. And there are jokes about, you know, people being from Alabama and what that might look like in terms of racial tensions and what people's experiences may be. If you've ever read or seen anything by August Wilson, his plays are steeped very much in socially conscious and aware topics centered around race, featuring predominantly Black casts. This is not my favorite, but Fences is. So it's like they started off, when they started making these movies, they kind of went straight for my favorite August Wilson work and did Fences. And then we kind of keep making August Wilson plays, which is fine, because he's a great person. It would be like if we had like a Neil Simon resurgence, and you were trying to start off with a Neil Simon play. I don't even know which one you would start with, but they pick one of them. And I don't know, Brighton Beach Memoirs. And you go with that, and then they just keep making Neil Simon plays. Noises Off, I don't know, something. I feel like at least one of those was a Neil Simon play. I feel like I'm right on both of them, but yeah. So I don't know which one you would start with, but he has a ton of plays, and then you just kind of keep going down from there. So this was, closer towards the front of the line. They felt like they wanted to make a Ma Rainey movie, and they went for it. And what you get out of it is you get fantastic acting performances. I think what people don't like about the movie is that it feels like a play, which a lot of movies that are based on plays are going to feel like plays because they're going to be written so that they could be staged. You know what I'm saying? So that they could be put on a stage with sort of very limited locations. A lot of these plays take place in a house or in a recording studio, or, it's just, it's very centered around one place, one idea. It doesn't hop all around town. They don't fly to multiple cities. You'd have to completely reimagine and re-envision the work, and then you're sort of stripping the August Wilson out of it, because I don't know how you would have to restructure a lot of his dialogue in order to fit the new scenes that you've added or written in. And then you're sort of asking yourself, well, what would August Wilson say? And then it just sort of becomes not really an August Wilson work anymore. It just sort of becomes inspired by August Wilson. And then it's a completely different behemoth altogether. And oftentimes when you have something that's a great writer like that, there are ways of doing it. There are two different ways, and you can do that. There is a world in which Ma Rainey's Black Bottom has none of August Wilson's stuff and only retains the theme, and a writer comes through and does something and keeps, the basic guts of the story and the theme, and then makes that movie. It can be a bit of a challenge, but that's how we get things like Kiss Me Kate, from Taming of the Shrew. That's is by sort of taking an original work and figuring out what the gut of the story is and what the relationships between the characters are and applying it in a new area. It can be done. Or we can still have productions of Taming of the Shrew. So you can have it both ways. There are film adaptations of Taming of the Shrew, but there's also Kiss Me Kate. There's also 10 Things I Hate About You. So is it possible that later on somebody may do something with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom where they update it for, I don't know, current times, and somebody like Zendaya is playing it and they're playing like a current artist, and the dialogue is written more for the times, and they add scenes or take away scenes, and it's more related to, yeah, they could do that. It would lose a lot of the original soul that's made for the movie, but it's just what you want out of it. If you want to retain the original August Wilson guts and glory in the story, then you would go for this. If you want to completely reimagine and reinvention it, you do the other thing. And a lot of times those movies aren't even called the same thing. They're called something else. They have a slightly different twist to them, so they don't try to advertise themselves. Even Ethan Cohen's The Tragedy of Macbeth, he didn't just call it Macbeth. He wanted people to know that he's doing his own thing. He's putting his stank on it, He's got the Cohen stank. Was it Joel Cohen? Ethan? I don't know. It was one of the Cohens. It was a Cohen. So yeah, there is that possibility, and we do seem to do it frequently with Shakespeare and less frequently with more contemporary writers. But I don't mind it because these stories are not so far removed from our current culture to where they're not relevant. we're not talking about things that were written hundreds of years ago in ways that people don't really speak anymore, which is what Shakespeare is. You couldn't walk around talking like fell out of a Shakespeare play right now. Just you think somebody escaped from an asylum. Uh, they're just, if that was the way they spoke naturally. Um, so yeah, people who experienced a lot of the things that these characters experienced are still alive. So this is not that far. We don't need to necessarily update it. I don't know. We're always about updating and reimagining and reinventing and rebooting. And sometimes it's just okay to just take the source material and throw it up on screen and be like, this is what it would be. This is what it looks like. Wicked is that. Wicked is that's basically the play, right? Thrown right up on stage, on screen for you. So, yeah, I think George C. Wolfe directed the hell out of this cast. The actors, I think the actors are the reason why you watch. They all give fantastic performances. And Viola Davis is fantastic. And it would be nice if she could win an Academy Award for Best Actress at some point in her life. That would be amazing. Love to see that happen. Obviously, the reason I did this is because yesterday I did my review for The Two Popes, where I mentioned, because Anthony Hopkins was in that, I mentioned the least uh, interesting way to ever end an Oscar ceremony was this year, where it was Chadwick Boseman was nominated, and it was this posthumous, and everybody was ready for it, and they were ready to give it to Chadwick, and in comes Anthony Hopkins for the father. And they'd actually moved that category to the final category. It was after Best Picture. This guy, they were so ready to have the Chadwick moment, to have this big inspirational moment, and then it was Anthony Hopkins, and the show ended. And it's just very like, what on earth? That's when you know that the people at Price Waterhouse or whatever, that they actually truly have kept the results secret from everyone. And they're sitting over there going, oh my God, should we tell them? No, let them do it. It's like they know, and they're like, oh God, we have to let them crash this car. We can't say anything. Maybe you guys shouldn't be doing this. This is a weird choice. But yeah, rest in peace, Chadwick. Truly a great actor, but he should have been nominated before this. He had plenty of opportunities to be nominated. He was a great actor outside of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Yes, this was sort of a race to give him a nomination for something, but he's great in 42. He's great in Marshall. This is not his only. It's not like he spent his whole career in crappy movies or action films or something like that, and then suddenly they were like, oh, this is the one time he's actually acting. No, he was acting a lot, actually. Most of his movies were pretty acting heavy. So this held up on the rewatch because it's really short. I'm just gonna be honest. I didn't have as much problem with it. I like movies that are music based. The acting, Viola Davis kept me, watching her performance again, just like watching a masterclass. Is it my favorite? No, I admitted that. I was like, I like Fences more than this. So I would have said that originally too. This is a film that I would have been perfectly fine if it hadn't been nominated for Best Picture, but had acting nominations for it. So, yeah, as long as the acting is supported, I don't, I like Fences more. That's the way it is. I'm gonna give my Rainey's Black Bottom a B+. That's where I think the audio description was really good. It's impactful in the scenes that it needs to be impactful. When somebody's taking off their shirt and revealing their back, or in little moments, just simply Viola Davis being astounding, amazing. Just her initial description is just she's with all this makeup and stuff and her hair, it just she's all done up and she's ready. So yeah, it was a good track. Anyway, Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will see you guys on the other side.